Hi everybody, it's Chris from the Evermore podcast, the Newcastle United podcast on the Evermore YouTube channel. We're back with another Rumour Has It video where we're going to talk about some of the players that have been linked to the club in this absolutely mental summer season so far. The window's not even opened yet. We're having a bloody video a day practically. So just before I get stuck into this one, guys, a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already, please click like and subscribe. We've had loads of growth over the channel over the weekend, some brilliant interactions. So thank you so much for all of that. I think we're currently sitting at about 548 subscribers. I'd absolutely love to be over 600 by the time this video comes out, or even if you guys can click that like and subscribe button and then help us get even further up. It really helps the channel grow. You know, a young channel like ours, we're loving the interactions and loving bringing you some good content over the summer. So hopefully come on board, click that button and join us on the journey. So listen, just get stuck into this. So there's a player that's been heavily linked to Newcastle United at the minute, and that is a left back, one of Kieran Trippier's old Atletico Madrid teammates, and that is a guy called Renan Lodi that a lot of people have heard about, obviously, over the last few weeks. I suppose it's been really growing the speculation. There is a rumor going around now on Twitter from I believe the source is it Marca, the Spanish newspaper. Sometimes they're way wider than Marca, and sometimes they're kind of on the money. So they're saying that we are now apparently getting a formal bid together to bid for Renan Lodi. So Mark's bashed up one of his stats slides here as well. I've got a really interesting slide in a minute to see how he compares to the other left back Targett, because we've got to remember he hasn't signed for us, and that is Matty Targett. But just getting stuck into Lodi first, you can see from the screen there. So he's 24 years old. It's a good age as a player there. As a left back, you can kind of see from the stats there. I'll just get rid of the logo so you can see his heat map. So you can see he's a very attacking fullback as opposed to potentially what Target is, which we'll see in a minute. So you can see there that some of the key areas for him, obviously in terms of his tackles, he does put in a few tackles. He's in the kind of higher 61% of the top left backs in the top 5 European leagues, as Mark's worked out there. And in terms of tackles won, he's in the top 56%. Pressures, he's very good at pressures and blocks. Where he struggles is he does commit a lot of fouls. Now, I don't know whether that's because he's better at going forward than he is defensively, but that is a bit of a concern there. But I think one of the biggest concerns really for me in terms of is how much playing time that Renan Lodi's had. Now, the fee according to Marca is about 40 million euros. So, in terms of a quick calculation in my head, I suppose, it's anywhere between kind of 35 to 37 million pounds or something. It's a lot of money to sign a left back for, especially when the reported fee for Matty Targett is 15 million, who, yes, I know is a couple of years older than Lodi at 26, but he's already shown how reliable he is and obviously knows the players. He's worked with Eddie Howe, and he would fit in extremely well if we can make that deal permanent in the summer. But you can see there in terms of the key elements of Lodi's game is really his attacking ability. He's putting in over 3 crosses, a game, and in terms of assists as well, 0.22 assists per 90 minutes. He's in the top kind of 90% of left backs in Europe, and you've got some steam company in there, the likes of, Andy Robertson and kind of Cancelo and guys like that, so to be in the top kind of 90%, shows you that the lad can definitely create going forward. And you can see that from the heat map there. He is quite up and down as well. But one thing that really worries me about having a player like that, we're going to see how he compares against Matty Targett in a minute and see the differences between the two. But what worries me about having a player like that in our current setup right now is obviously we play with a real disciplined strategy, where everybody's working for each other, everybody's pressing the ball. But the thought of having him and ASM on the left-hand side really frightens the shit out of me, to be honest with you. If we were to sign this guy, I'm not saying he wouldn't be welcomed in with open arms and he wouldn't be a fantastic player, because I'm pretty sure you don't play for Atletico Madrid, in Brazil if you're not a very good player. But, the thought of ASM going for one of his wandering runs and not tracking back and not having Matty Targett there to kind of sweep up the mess, really frightens the crap out of me, to be honest with you. So we talked about Matty Targett and Lodi and how they compare. Let's just pull that up and you can see for yourselves, guys. So, looking at the two of them there, heat maps are quite similar in terms of kind of what area of the pitch they cover. But the big thing for Matty Targett is obviously consistency in terms of appearances. He has played pretty much every game since he's been here, whereas Lodi, as we saw there, was kind of 22 appearances as a substitute. So that shows that Simeone potentially doesn't trust him. I know he signed another player from Lille, I believe it was. The name escapes me now, but he obviously doesn't trust the player. So that's a bit of a concern as well. But looking at the key areas, as you can see there, Matty Targett is much better in terms of his interceptions, 2.19 per 90 minutes. He's at the top 75 percentile. In terms of, the fouls committed, he's at the other end of the spectrum. So he times his tackles very well. He wins 50% of his tackles. You can see him and Lodi, there's nothing really splitting them there. Where the differences really between the two of them is, Lodi's obviously in the top kind of 84% for crosses per 90 minutes there at over 3 crosses a game, and Matty Targett's just over 2 at 50%. So Matty Targett maybe doesn't get as forward as Lodi does, but that might potentially be because of the job he's having to do by covering ASM, who obviously is that utter attacking threat down that left-hand side. Lodi obviously has more assists, but as I say, he's not got ASM playing in front of him. If you put him in our team, you might have to spend more time defending, and given the fact that he gives away a lot of free kicks, it's maybe not a good idea. But, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Me personally, if I'm going to be looking at these two players, I'd rather have Matty Targett. I feel that he's done enough to prove he deserves to be part of this project going forward. We said this on Evermore, I think, a couple of weeks ago there, that, Matty Targett is a really steady player, and I think he's got a great relationship with Dan Burn, that left-hand side of defence. If we were to bring someone like Botman in as well, who's also left-footed, I think Matty Targett and Botman would also strike up a really good relationship. But for me, consistency-wise, in terms of he's already been here, he knows the players, he knows the project, he knows the manager, and it's half the price pretty much. I know money shouldn't really be an option for the club at the minute, but the fact that you've got, a player who's played 30-odd games for us or whatever it is this season, including cup games, the consistency is there, in my opinion. So for me, Matty Targett's a better option. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below, whether you would rather have Lodi over Targett. And I've seen a few polls doing around on Twitter, and everybody's more interested in Lodi. But it does worry me there in terms of his ability to foul a player. That's a real concern for us. It's not really something that we need kind of going forward. So that's us wrapped up for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please click that like and subscribe button. As I mentioned, we're sitting at about 540. I'd love to get over 600 if we can, in the next kind of few days. The aim is to get over that 1,000. So if you can help us get one step closer, guys, I'd absolutely love you forever on that. Me and the lads will be back for an end of season award show on Evermore on Wednesday at 6:30. So make sure you tune in for that. We'll be live. Jump in the comments. Let us know if you agree or disagree. With our selections, we'll have player of the season, goal of the season, game of the season, flop of the season, sign of the season. So we've got loads of categories to cover there. So it should be a really belting show with the lads. But until then, this is Chris signing off. Let's keep and support that team of Core United. Stick with us at Evermore. We've got loads more of these Rumour Has It videos coming out, and I'll catch you later. Cheers, guys.